Hello, I'm just outside the village of Gospel End in South Staffordshire. I'm going to spend an hour or so in the woodland, which is just on the edge of Bagridge Country Park, around the area that's known as Gospel End Common. It's just a small area, but that suits me really, because my style of birding is to spend a shorter time but cover the area thoroughly, as opposed to walking for miles and sort of maybe just watching the odd bird. But anyway, we never know what's out there until we actually start to walk the area. So, binoculars at the ready, got Twinkle with me, my Bedlington Terrier. She loves to come for a walk when I'm out birding. Let's go and see what we can find. This is Gospel End Common. Blink and you'll miss it. It's such a small piece of land. I can imagine at one time it was probably much larger, but due to farmland and the village of Gospel End perhaps encroaching upon this particular piece of land, it's become much smaller. But it's a very ancient piece of land, as indeed are many of our commons, and it's nice to see it preserved. As you can tell by the ground, we've had a very, very cold night. There's been frost, but nothing like a little bit of bird watching to warm you up. And the sun's coming up there. You can see it just through the woods at the back, which is where I'll be heading shortly. It's about 400 meters away, so it's just a tiny little speck on the screen, but there's a green woodpecker feeding on one of the fields. I'm just going to draw back now so you get an idea of just how far away the bird is. Impossible to spot with the naked eye, which is why we have binoculars when we go bird watching. Just come across a flock of long-tailed tits, about a dozen or so, feeding in the area. Difficult to keep in the screen as they're very active, but they're great birds, particularly this time of the year when they do flock together. And there's been blue tit as well, and grey tit around. It's a grey tit there. I've seen a number of birds, including redpoll, common buzzard, coal tit, nuthatch, none of which I was able to capture on film, unfortunately, but I've enjoyed myself. It's still very cold even though the sun's up, and I feel the gas fire calling.